A while back I was in a discussion with an atheist online.
Oh no, you don't want to do that. Those guys are the worst. Did you know that they don't believe in a supernatural overlord that they all must worship or face dire consequences? It's completely ridiculous. I mean, clearly, I exist and should be worshipped, or I will drink all of the whiskey instead of just most of it.
I asked him some questions.
Well, you definitely don't want to do that, mostly because every time you guys ask athei-braps questions, they are some of the most inane, idiotic questions you could ask. And yes, there is such a thing as stupid questions, when the reason you are asking a question is because you think it will trick someone into agreeing with you. That's a really fucking stupid thing to ask, especially with someone like me, because I will disagree with everyone and everything just to be a dick.
The first one I asked him was, "Are you an animal?"
Only in the bedroom, baby. Ask Mrs. Sick. I'm like a dog, because I have to sleep on the floor next to the bed because I ate the entire cake off the kitchen side and then puked in the washing basket. Look, if she didn't want me to do either of those things, she really should have made me sleep outside as normal.
And he said that he was, and so was I, and did I have a problem with that? I do.
Shonking. I wonder why, he said, probably knowing exactly why, but I digress. Yeah, he's right. You are an animal. It's a classification and nothing else. Get over it. You share more in common with all animals than you don't. Maybe, don't be so butthurt when someone says something accurate. It'll make you sleep better and sound significantly less stupid in polite company.
But, going with your idea that you're an animal, I have a question for some of you atheists and evolutionists, especially the atheists, maybe.
Sure, although, does the first thing count as a question, or do the questions start from here? 'Cause I'ma be counting. That's right, people. I can count over 5 to almost 7. I know, you're all very impressed, but save your applause till the end, please.
If you're an animal, here's the questions I have. Is killing animals wrong?
Ugh, when I thought I probably knew it was going to be a stupid question, well, you only went and grabbed yourself an even dumber question than that. For Christ's non-existent sake, why you guys always gotta disappoint me? In fact, no, scratch that. How do you guys always manage to disappoint me? At this point, it's actually impressive that you always seem to find yet more bottom to that barrel.
I mean, we kill animals all the time to eat. Well, if we're an animal too...
Don't do it, dude. That is nowhere near as smart as you obviously think it is. F*** me. Animals, right? Kill animals all the time. If anything, this question proves the point that humans are animals. Christ almighty. I can only think that he's got an animal mixed up with the idea of specific species. And even then, it would be dumb because various species kill members of that species all the time, just like the humans do.
Brings up some slippery slopes, doesn't it? Just a slippery slope.
What, you're not even going to solidify that point? I guess that might be a good way to wriggle out of any argument used against you. Well, I didn't actually say that. I mean, what you've said is nothing. Well done. You have contributed little to this conversation, a conversation that you started. So mazel tov, I guess, world's most redundant man.
Cats are believed to kill other animals, sometimes purely for fun. Do you advocate here and now the total extinction of cats?
What? What the f*** has that got to do with anything? That was the most random and pointless sentence that I think I've ever heard anyone ever say. Who is advocating for the extinction of any animal for pretty much any reason? No one? Nowhere? I don't know where you're going with this, but I'm terrified you're gonna somehow go even dumber. I'm scared.
If not, what about Nazis? They killed many, and not for fun, but for what they claimed was a good reason. So then are you saying that they were justified?
Dude, everything you just said was not smart. It was a non sequitur. One thing has absolutely nothing to do with the other. Nazis aren't cats. Although it could be argued that some cats are Nazis, especially Mittens, that evil little bastard. But the fact that cats might kill for sport has literally nothing to do with the Third Reich. And anyone who thinks that those two things are linked must be so profoundly stupid, I would be amazed that they could even sit up and breathe at the same time. So you'll fit right in on this channel, welcome.
Question number 2.
That was the first question. Shit, I suppose I should answer it. 72. I don't know, that answer made about as much sense as his question, so I think we can just move on. What's next? I'm guessing something dumb.
There are different species of canine. Wolves are much more strong in every area than, say, Chihuahuas.
Oh, he's going to not understand evolution at us now, isn't he? Okay, fine. Let me get my extra big whiskey. I lie, there is no extra big whiskey, only pools of it. That's my serving size, and I'm sticking to it, officer.
So according to you, which ethnicity of human is the strongest overall?
Oh, f*** off. That's not something I consider or would ever consider, not only because it's messed up, but because it's really pigging stupid. It's an apples to oranges comparison. Chihuahuas and wolves might both be canines, but they would have quite significant difficulty breeding because they are so vastly different from each other. They are probably not far off speciating, as difficulty breeding is one of the first steps to that effect, like how zebras and donkeys and horses can mate but end up with sterile offspring. Humans are nothing like that. On top of the question, strongest? What does that even mean? That's a completely irrelevant question to evolution. Evolution is about fit. The Chihuahua is probably the better evolutionary adaptation because they fit inside handbags and can be carried instead of having to walk. And if that doesn't sound like they have made it in terms of the old food chain, I don't know what does.
You may divert by claiming each has their strengths and weaknesses, and certain ethnicities are more specialized in certain locations.
No, I wouldn't say that at all because it's dumb. But in terms of your misunderstanding of what evolution means, as demonstrated here, you think evolution is trying to make the strongest thing, when all evolution does is change things. It's this lack of comprehension that makes you lot say and ask these stupid f***ing questions, because they aren't even talking about the same thing as you. And if you bothered to actually ask more basic questions like, what is evolution exactly, and understood the answer, you would know to stop being so silly.
So tell me, within the United States, which ethnicity is more suitable, or the favored race, as Charles Darwin put it? This is all according to your idea.
No, this is according to your warped understanding of it, and I use the term understanding very loosely. If you actually knew what favoured races meant in that context, you would know it has nothing to do with ethnicity. Also, we don't use that term anymore anyway. That was Darwin's thing. The idea has moved on since then. But in basic terms, the differences between most humans are so minor that to even consider that idea is absurd. That's like asking which member of X football team is most suited to sitting on the bus. It doesn't make any sense, because you don't know what you're talking about.
Question number 3.
Ah, well done. You can count up to 3. Although, seeing as you have actually asked a bunch of unrelated questions at this point, I'm pretty sure we are beyond 3. But I'll give it to you as an overarch, just because I'm such a nice guy who is never a massive arsehole and everyone likes.
Current belief regarding the universe is that it is spreading out. The Bible repeatedly states that it is stretching out, or has been stretched out.
Expanding, but sure. And, well, which one is yours? Can't be both, since one will have stopped. So you are going to have to go away and come back when you are sure, because if you can't decide which one it's saying, then that's as good as it's saying neither. Because guessing both possible ideas means that you can't be wrong. And if you can't be wrong, you are absolutely, positively wrong.
If the Bible was not given by inspiration of God, how did ancient man know this?
Because stretched out and expanding don't really mean the same thing. It's just a very poetic way to say that the sky is basically pulled over like a giant space rug. If you've ever laid in a bed and pulled a blanket over yourself and then pushed your feet into the air and all the lights are on in the room, you might have noticed that light comes through the little holes in most blankets, and it looks somewhat reminiscent of the night sky. And if I were a betting nightmare shaped like a person, I would guess that that is what they were going for with that analogy. That's the problem with using flowery language. It's impossible to know what you actually meant. It's almost like they did that on purpose.
Question 4.
Wow, we are f***ing zooming through these. Awesome. Usually we get to the end of my video barely having scratched the stupid off the first question. But this here, it's condensed dumb. It's like your 5 a day in a convenient package just ripe for stuffing into your face, if you're into that kind of thing.
How did the Bible get it right that there are springs of the sea, when this was not discovered until 1965 with the advent of deep-sea vehicles?
Wow, that editing was some top-tier jank. Didn't even normalise the audio. Brilliant. And I have to wonder what he said instead that was so wrong that he had to completely change it rather than putting up a simple correction. Oh well. And springs of the sea? Well, even if your little quote there, "Hast thou entered into the springs of the sea, or hast thou walked in the search of the depth?" Well, it doesn't sound like it's talking about undersea springs. It sounds like it's talking about springs that feed into the sea, because they will have understood by observation that rivers are fed by springs, so one assumes that's how they thought the sea worked too. And anyone who knows anything about oceans etc. knows that that is actually not even remotely how the sea works.
Question number 5.
Oh, took you a minute to remember how to numbers there, didn't it? And I suppose to answer the last question, in case you missed it, is the Bible doesn't, because it was written by ignorant plebs. Me am the big shock. And seeing as this is the last question coming up, but we have literally half your video left to go, I imagine we are gonna have to strap in, people. This is gonna get big silly now, isn't it?
Animals often force other animals into sex. We do not kill or punish these acts. Please explain why, if Darwinian evolution is true, why one person raping another is wrong.
Oh, hell, dude. I know this is a shock value question, and don't lie, that's why you ask stupid shit like that, but did you really think just asking that kind of thing would make you sound smart and that you have some kind of good point? Because it doesn't. In fact, again, it makes it very clear that you haven't got a clue what the hell you are talking about. We don't punish non-human animals for sex acts because by and large non-human animals lack the same kind of cognitive capacity to understand that such an act is harmful. Humans can understand that, but that doesn't not make humans animals. It just makes them a different kind of animal. Again, it's a classification, not some kind of stupid judgment. And I am not about to be judged by someone who clearly lives inside of a bin bag.
If we are simply animals.
Wait, did you actually write these dumbass questions down? I don't know how I feel about that. In one hand, they are so simplistic and frankly idiotic that I can't see why you would need to make notes on them. And on the other, I'm surprised you know how to read and write, so well done, I guess.
Your myth of evolution has caused a lot of problems.
Whoa. Slow down, champ. I don't think you want to have this "your myth have caused bad," 'cause your myth, whoo lad, has caused some unbelievably bad shit in the world. And of course, evolution isn't a myth, it's a fact. And if anyone wants to say, "No, it theory," I implore everyone else to point them to the definition of what a scientific theory is, and make them read it Clockwork Orange style till they actually understand and stop saying that stupid "it's just a theory" line. Because every time you say that, you are basically screaming at me, I have no clue what I'm saying, and you should probably stop.
And has been the excuse of many criminals.
The excuse of criminals? I mean, of course, I can't remember the last time I saw a courtroom shit and the defense wasn't "not guilty by means of evolution." All the time that happens. Bloody sick of it I am.
Jeffrey Dahmer. The Nazis.
Wow, that's an extensive list, almost like your point is bollocks. Also, even if you want to argue either of them did anything based purely on the actual theory of evolution, which they wouldn't have, but even if they did do things based on a genuine understanding of that fact, it wouldn't stop it being a fact. That's just dumb.
I think Mao Zedong. Pol Pot. These are fair questions to ask.
Those aren't questions, those are assertions that those people did anything based on the fact of evolution and a proper understanding of how it works, which I would bet even if they did anything because evolution, they didn't have anything even resembling a grasp on the idea that in certain environments creatures will become better adapted to that environment over time, because that has nothing to do with anything nefarious and only an idiot would think that it does. Cough, cough, not looking at you, cough, cough.
If your myth were true, then these would be great questions to apply to it.
No, they wouldn't. The only good thing that those questions achieve is telling me that the asker hasn't got clue one what they are talking about and probably should actually, find out more info on it rather than assuming their incredibly limited perspective is complete and the only thing they need to know about it and actually learn something. Also, well, that's the end of the video apparently, but there's so much of it left. Let me just have a quick look and...
Hello. If you're watching this video, it could be that you found it on your own, or it could be that someone sent to you because they care enough that they want you to hear about the gospel.
Oh God, get it away! Wait, before you go, I have something super important to tell you. It's life or death. It will change everything forever. Nope, wait, it's gone. Oh well, probably wasn't important. But while I have you, don't forget to comment, subscribe and notify. And if you want more of my smexy voice, check out Mrs. Six's channel, Spoonstaff Stories, where I narrate and voice all the videos, and she does the work. And if you want to support the channel, check out the merch store for cool t-shirts, or check out Patreon, memberships and PayPal to support directly. Finally, follow me on the medias of social to get completely pointless guff and to keep up on the latest releases. Oh, I just remembered what I was going to tell you. Whatever you do, don't touch the...